Should be okay. I hope. Uh, got a cup of coffee here. I might need some more though. We'll take it from there. Should I briefly check on the other platforms? Briefly check. Yeah, looks fine. It's okay. Looks okay-ish. Looks as it should be actually. I'm not going to check them all of them, but I think that. Oh, yep. All is good. A bass of white. Magnus, black. Let's look at the position. Whose turn is it? Basov's turn. What is that king doing on f2? Well, I assume if king f2, the white rooks are connected already. So that's, if you want to look at it, that's like castling, guys. That's like castling. Another thought, random thought. If this rook were to be oh, no, you can't do this. Like, I mean, just looking at c7, but actually you need to make sure this guy stays in place, which probably Magnus is going to be attacking it. How? That's up for debate. Castle long, just rook by itself, short castle. So that's a little bit of something that white needs to pay attention to. And it's on the same diagonal with the black queen. So Abasov needs to think about this one. Question is Magnus going to castle short? If you're going to castle short, probably Abasov just is going to throw. He's going to throw G. He's going to throw H. That's exactly what is going to happen. On the other side, if he castles long, just saying, if he castles long, sort of securing the king, if I may put it this way, and the rook on d8 attacks the sky twice. Just a thought. Just a thought. So we can discuss about this kind of ideas, ladies and gents. We can definitely have a friendly, nice discussion along the lines here. Castle long, castle short, king e7. Can you do that? So probably you've noticed, guys, when I'm doing the live commentaries, I am just, you know, expressing a lot of things that cross my mind without just having gaps, internal debate, and then verbalizing them. I'm just talking freely, so to speak, as if I were to, you know, talk within a voice. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Maybe that might be helping some of our friends at some point, perhaps. Oh, but it's a Basov's turn anyway. This is a little bit of weakness if you kind of manage to get a rook here. But how would you do it? I don't know. Double up, rook d2. I mean, rook d2 first, which can't be a bad thing. Let me look at the eval bar. Plus 0.34. You know, there's something cool about this position for Abasov. Rook d2. And you may probe then some rook h to c just to hit c7. They're going to be playing probably this. That's not bad. Then you're going to go back. Going behind this pawn because what you want to do is, boom. Well, can't do it now though because of this. But in principle, you may want to push the pawn if I'm correct. Probably queen e3. But anyway, we got to see what black has in mind. Do you want to do short castling? Because if you do short castling, we might be looking at different stuff. That's for, well, at some point, probably this. Go, go, go. G and H will be pushed down the board as soon as black commits to short castling. Hello, hello there, Chandu. So, what do you think white should be playing? I mean, should you just go G4 now absolutely shamelessly? Can you just go shamelessly G4, H4? But that will elicit probably castle long. So, you know. What Magnus thing, Chando? What Magnus thing people talk about? Apparently, and yeah, I've seen an interview yesterday. I was talking to the other friends on a stream. He did give an interview, and he said that even if he wins the Fide World Cup, he not going to be playing in the candidate tournaments, in the candidates tournament. He don't want to play because he doesn't like the format or something. I mean, I would love to see him going and challenging, the candidates and then taking back the World Chess Championship crown. I would love to see that. I'd love to see Magnus in action doing exactly this. But if the guy doesn't want to play, what can we do? By the way, if he wins it, anyway, he's in the semifinals now. If he wins it, I mean, look, he just proved everything he's got to prove. Okay, is one of the strongest on the planet, if not the strongest. So he proved it time and time again for the last decade. He just proved it continuously. Maybe he wants a break or something. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, yes, he did say. Yes, he did say. He said that even if he wins, the other three semifinalists should assume that actually they would be qualifying for the candidates tournament. So a bus of things now. Oh yeah, Caruana versus Prague. Now, actually, we can go and have a look at those guys as well, and maybe the women's World Cup as well. Now, I was just very curious about this position here. I love it. I like it, and I like White's chances for playing now against Black, against Magnus Carlsen. I don't think it's a very bad position for White. Again, if Black were to castle short, you're looking at H and G, G and H for sure. That's that kind of thing that probably Magnus gonna do. A little bit of an issue for White might be this guy, the D4 pawn. And I was speculating that if Black were to castle long, you would actually place two attackers on D4, whilst the king would be in sort of protected. Maybe. So you want to get stuff with tempo. So the long castling would achieve like two things with tempo. King safety, if I could say. I mean, I don't know how much of a safety, but probably better than where it is at the minute. And the rook would be attacking here. And then probably that forces white to do something like this. It's okay. I think it's not that bad. Not that bad. Black can't push because it's going to take with tempo. Check, king takes, then taking here. Well, you still can't take. So this guy is a problem. Queen e3 has got to be played. Or just move the king away. I don't know. King, that'll be blocking potential G going. So probably queen e3. Probably. We'll see. We'll see. Let's go to Pragg and the other guy. Pragg and Fabi. Oh, yeah. What is going on? Beautiful draw yesterday. Excellent game. A very even one with the bit of advantage for Fabi here. Heck, the rook is under threat. I've just seen it now. The rook is under threat. It's good I've noticed, though. It's good. It's good to notice when pieces are attacked. You see, that's a good start of a potential decent chess. That's good. So you must move the rook. And why is he spending so long? Is there any trickstery here? Why is he spending so long? Rook AB and then potentially some knight C, and just jumping with the knight. And given the fact you've got a very, very nice bishop here, I like it. I like it. And knight c4 would also provide some defense on b2 if there were to be the case. Other than that, is there any other stuff I'm missing here? That's a good question, Chando, because I just wanted to say that actually I love the Prague's light square bishop a bit more than this guy's, the Black Knights. The advantage. Well, there is a meager advantage, Chando. It's minus 0.18. Probably the computer gets it this way. White needs to spend the tempo, moving rook to safety. That's what I think. So the engine would say white has to lose a tempo, and then black's going to be playing another knight. which might be playing this. And, well, no, they can't be doing that. No, they can't be doing that. Not after rook a b1. You can't do this because you're losing. I don't know why the engine says a bit better for black. I don't know. So rook a b1, which probably should have been played like quite quickly. I mean, you don't have too many choices. I think you should have saved a bit of time and just move rook a to b1. Why is black a bit better? Well, now it's going even more better. So let's think about this one. Why? Rooks can't be double here. Oh. That takes an eternity. That can't be the case. Is it this? Is it this? Rook takes, knight takes. Probably. A2 feels incredibly painful. Of course we can check. But to play A2, probably that's why Pragg spent a lot of time. But this is an awful positioning of the rook. Probably they might be staying there for a very long time. I think if I do rook A2, the engine would go very much down. Well, not very much, but probably it's going to be a loss of position. You're actually placing a rook to play an incredibly defensive role for half the game now if you do rook a2. So that feels incredibly awkward and very painful thing to do. Let me just play it and see what the engine say, if they say something. I don't like it, rook a2. I just don't like it myself. I don't like it. So let's just look at the val bar now. The reasons are you get a rook, you had two rooks connected, and you get a rook from a1, you lift on the second rank to defend the potential pawn if this guy were to move. Feels awkward, very awkward. The engine's still debating, as you can see. They still analyzing. Not very crystal clear. But in principle, it hurts to get the rook from the first rank here to the second rank only to defend the pawn. I want my rooks connected. Practically, I want to have my rooks connected. I don't know when this knight's going to leave, though. So let's just put it this way. If you move rook a2 in order to defend b2, you don't know how long your rook will stay there because you don't know how long the knight will stay here. And I don't know how you can make the knight go away. You tell me, how do you make the black knight go away? Because it's not clear at all. So this thing's being given. You do have a worsening of the position for Pragg. Let's go back. The actual position. So yeah. Rook a b1. I think he should have just played it. He would have saved like probably 5 minutes. I don't know what he thought. I don't know what Pragg did think that it took so many minutes. Rook a b1, just save the minutes to think of something else. You've got to do this. This is a nice diagonal. It's a nice diagonal, and actually it does prevent the two black rooks to make a very, very powerful battery here. So that bishop has to stay there. And the bishop on g2 also stops any knight. You're still attacking twice. What is black supposed to do? I don't know. Is rook d7 playable? Is rook d7 playable? What else? I mean, how do you increase the power here? How do you make better position for black? You want to dance with the knight a little bit? Like this, like this? Oh, that's a nice thought. That's a nice little idea. Can you do that? I mean, every pawn matters absolutely. Hello, Aniruddha. What do you think about knight e7, knight b6, knight a4? Ain't that a weakness? Well, there is this guy that, again, feels slightly awkward. You could potentially, I guess. Should you play the knight or should you play rook, opposing this rook? I think it's good to play rook a7 to d7. You know why? It kind of makes white take. If they don't take, you're gonna take. And when this guy moves, they gotta be worrying about a b2. So they gotta play defensive stuff again. And you might be able to win the column for yourself. So I think rook a7 to d7 is a decent idea. If you should do knight first or rook first, we can debate that one. We can debate on this one. If rook d7 or knight d7, what else do you think you want to do? Knight d7 for knight b6 and hitting a4. That's one thing. Yeah, but also you got to oppose the white rook on the d file. So I reckon that might be the best shot. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Let me know. I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think on the current position with Fabian Prague. Nice game. Nice game here. Let's see. Let's see what the other guys, namely Magnus and Abasov. Come on, fellas. Come on, mate. That. Okay, there we go. We're back. Hey, he castle long. We did say that. I did say that. Where were we last time? Last time we were. Hey, I said about that one too. Queen b6, and I said I think like a tons of time about castle. I've said about queen e3. It happened, and I did say about castle long. That happened too. Rook d2. I said that as well. I did say that. And a potential this or that. Depends on the case. I did say all these ideas. Rook d7. That's what they want to do. And that's what they want to do. It's going to be a positional sort of Alekine's gun. Going to be a sort of Alekine's gun forming right now before our eyes. Exactly as we speak. These are the ideas. Positional, striking, get the tanks, get the rooks. That's exactly, yeah, rook hd1, rook hd8. That's exactly what's going on. Very positional. It is Abasov's turn. Let's see. Huh. Can't go forwards. Can you? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Actually, okay, what's going on here? Does he want to play this and that for this and then this kind of ideas? What? Okay, what's going on? Does he want to play this and this? Even if they take what? I mean, he wants Magnus to take on B so he can open up sort of lines to hit on B7. Bishop C4. Bishop C4. The engine said that kind of lost advantage. Can you just push this guy? Ultimately, you're defending it 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you should push the pawn forwards. Queen takes, king takes. Okay, we just... How bad is it? How bad? Queen takes, king takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. What? Gonna be an isolated pawn or something? Queen takes, king takes. Queen takes, king takes. Pawn takes. What do you take with? If you take with the bishop, bishop's gonna take. No, it can't be. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Queen takes, king takes. Pawn takes, pawn takes. What if bishop takes? Queen takes. King takes. Yeah, but probably that wasn't the best move for black. They sort of have to. And now you take with the bishop. If you take with the pawn, you're going to get into some possible checks on the e-file. So you're going to take with the bishop? Is it that bad? How bad is it? Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Does black have to take? Or just play this? No, that's crazy. You have to take. Hold on a second. What's going on? I mean, after all this sequence being played, what is bad for Abasov? That's what I wanted to ask. What's bad? Yeah, it is an isolated pawn, but we're gonna do this. Yeah, okay, I get it. It's an isolated pawn. But there's no way to push the white king back. You can't play this because there will always be en passant. Yeah, okay, the white king will have to stay behind the pawn, so to speak. Okay. This. Okay. The engine says a bit of advantage, perhaps? For whom is still debating. So I'm just looking at the previous position before Abasov actually played bishop c4. And I was just imagining, what if he just pushed d5? After all, yeah, there is an isolated pawn, and the engine seems to not being impressed by the idea of an isolated pawn, because the engine says the white king stays very well where they are. And it's a game in which you have to calculate every single tempo. Because if you have to move the white king behind, you're going to lose. But you're not going to move behind. You're going to go left and right. If black will allow that. This is a long ending in which theoretically white should be doing better. So after all, Abasov should have pushed d5. After all, we're going to go back. He didn't, though. He played bishop c4. He didn't push d5. He played bishop c4. And the idea probably would be try and play this, making black queen take the pawn, so that you can potentially at some point attack on the b file or something. Or you want to do this and that. Queen takes. Oh, what's bishop c4 do? Or what's going on with bishop c4? What's the idea behind bishop c4? Guys, do you see any meaning behind bishop c4? Apart from just moving something because it's your turn. I mean, not bad thought. Probably, I don't know, this, that. You want to go like this? What is it? What's the thing here? This and that. You just want to push the A and B, I reckon. If you guys have any other thoughts, please do share them if you feel like to. I'm just trying to see the meaning behind bishop c4. What's the plan? Why did he do it? Was it absolutely necessary to push c5? You push the pawn in front of the king? You push the pawn in front of... Well, you can't take it, right? I mean, you... No, you cannot. Rook takes with tempo, check. You take. They take, check. You take. They take. So you can't push this pawn, right? Or can you? So you capture. Rook takes, check. You're gonna take. A rook takes check. Queen must take. A queen takes check and attacks your bishop. You're gonna lose the bishop pawn. You're gonna lose the bishop on c4. Seemingly. You're gonna lose the bishop on c4. Pawn takes, rook takes, rook takes. Rook captures, queen captures, you have to. And queen takes, checks the king on f2 and attacks on c4. So you're gonna lose a bishop. Yeah, exactly as I said, you're gonna drop a bishop. Yes, David, hello. Yeah, d5. d5 is a very good one. I like it very much. Because even, let's assume they don't take and they push, and then you just created the pass pawn. You created the pass pawn. You took a bunch of space. It's looking good. Then this and that. What's not to like about this? This is it. That's a good plan. Yes, David, you are correct. I think you are correct. d5 looks like a very good one. There's no point keeping this tension here. So, yeah, but you don't trade. You just push forward. Push, takes. What do you take with? Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Well, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You can push the pawn. Yeah, you're going to move king g3. c7, queen here. It's funky. I think you can push d5. Takes, takes. Takes, takes. No. They can't take. D5 is good. I like it. How bad is it? It's not bad at all. It's not bad, D5. Yeah, okay. They still debating. But it's not bad. It's not a bad move. Makes sense because you're creating a passed pawn. At least you create a passed pawn. Let's look at E5. E5? It's an interesting idea, E5. But I think it's bad because of this. And they're actually supporting like 3 times. And I'm not sure. It has some virtue in terms that you may want to keep this bishop blocked behind its own pawn. So maybe from this point of view, but I'm not sure about E5. It just feels dodgy. I don't know why. E5, CD. E5, CD. What do you do? You've got a problem. You can't take the pawn, can you? Rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. No, you can't take the pawn because you can't. They defending it 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can't push. This is bad, E5. This is bad. So D5 had happened. Who said that? Anirudh. D5 happened. Makes sense. Now the question is, do you take with the pawn or with the bishop? Which one do you take with? Pawn or bishop? Do you do D, E, D, or do you do bishop takes D5? What do you play? If you take with the bishop, they gonna take. Then you gonna take, and that's a passed pawn. They can't take it. So they took with the, yeah, they can't touch it. You defend it 3 times, they can't touch it. They can't. They might be able to play this. Attacking queen. They might be able to do that. But then you have to relocate the queen. I'm not sure where exactly yet. C5, C3, A3. So I'm imagining after something like rook E8, where does the white queen gonna go? C3, A3, F4, where do you go? What do you play? Do you really want to trade now? I think it's cool to have the white queen on the board. I don't think I'm keen on trading the queen. It's such a powerful piece now and versatile and mobile, and you want to move it all over the place. I don't think queen b3. I don't think I'd be keen on trading queen now, with white, that is. Maybe. Maybe, amongst other things, amongst many other things. Yes, it could be, David. Could be very well. Might be correct, yeah. So the only thing you gotta ask is that after rookie, okay, he moved the king, so there are no more what? Pins and nasty stuff here? Okay, it's a prophylactic one. It's good to have the king away from any possible pin. Right, so that's good. Okay, in principle, I think it's good. Now over to Abbasov. What is he gonna do now? The engine appreciates is like 0.00. So there's not a big weakness anywhere. There's no big weakness anywhere. You might be thinking, is that good, this kind of stuff? Yeah, but still a rook will be coming here. Then maybe queen here? Attack here, preparing this. What do you think about queen d3, guys? Queen d3 would make a possible battery to attack the rook. 1, move the queens away from the e file, and hits the h7. Now, queen d3 might be met with this. I don't think it's the end of the world, though. Then you can play queen c3. Oh, maybe. Queen f4 check. They're going to move in a corner. I think Magnus just wanted to move the king in a corner. So he wants you to check him so that he can play another safety move, so to speak. And then you have to play again. What? You don't want to play queen to g3. You actually want to keep the queen on this side. The white queen doesn't want to go like this. The white queen probably wants to stay on the third rank. One, two, three, one, two, three. Queen d3 will probably this, and then queen c3. Is it good? Bad? It's a time-wasting move. I don't know. We can discuss. Nah, I don't like queen f4. I gotta spend another tempo to get them back, to get the queen back on the third rank, and then traveling to the left. I may just travel now. I might just go now. Would be nice to get rooks here, you know? Would be nice, but how, when exactly, it's very difficult to say. This is a passed pawn. Would be good now to trading stuff. How do you trade the rooks? Trading queen, maybe after all, queen b3, not a bad idea. In terms of starting to trade, then, you know, hoping that at some point this guy would be a pawn to go forwards. Maybe after all, queen b3, not a bad idea. Anirudh said something about queen b3. Maybe not a bad idea to trade now. If you created the pass pawn and you can hold on to that pawn, protect it, make sure it's safe, nice and all, maybe queen b3. Queen d3, queen b3, which one is it? Queen f4, but what purpose queen f4? Apart from a check. Probably queen g3 would be just queen g6 anyway. Nah, I don't like queen f4 very much. Queen f4. Maybe it's more. King goes in a corner. Potentially might you be able to push this guy. But they attack you 3 times. When you push the pawn, bishop takes, queen takes, you're gonna lose your pawn. So actually it's not a good one. I don't like it. Maybe queen b3. Let's ask the engine actually. I'm curious now. Queen e4, best one. Queen f4, playable, second line of the engine. Queen f4 check. And black needs to block, says. Is your chat's not working? I can read your chat. How come it's not working? What's going on? Your chat is not working. Queen f4, queen h4. Or king a8, these. No, you're gonna lose a pawn, Anirudh. No, you're gonna lose the pawn. You're gonna lose the pawn, man. Queen f4, king a8, d6, bishop takes, queen takes. You're gonna lose your pawn. And practically you're gonna lose the game. You lost the leverage. You lost the only thing that kept thing in balance, so to speak. This poor guy, on d5 is actually, that would be an intense battle for that pawn. He played a3. Why? This is gonna go b takes, and then open up the b file. Maybe that might be a thought. Let's go to Prag, said Chando. Absolutely, and then we're gonna come back. And see what Abasov and Magnus played. Fabi and Prague. Fabi and Prague. Whose move is it? Fabi, black's to move. Did this guy actually move something? These guys, they were still here. Whoa, oh, the rook actually played. Whoa, we lost time. Wait a second. We were here. Rook A B1. He goes for the weakness. Fabio went straight for the A4 pawn. And Pragg wants to say, if you take my guy, I'm going to take your knight. And Rook C7 behind the pawn. Because what Fabio wants to do is, you probably got it, guys, is C4. What a move. What a move by Fabi. What an idea. So nice of an idea. C4 would actually secure the knight, hitting the rook, and also enabling the black rook to take on A4. What a move. Yeah, but after C4 you can. Can't you? You can. After C4. Well, that's very kind of you from Wales. That's very kind of you. It's an informal one. We're just expressing our thoughts here freely in regards with the chess positions we are encountering every single time. So, and that's the thought process. I'm thinking now that rook here wants to support c4 to protect the knight, attack the rook. Rook's got to move, and I don't know where. But regardless, I'll be able to get a pawn. That matters absolutely. What Pragg's supposed to be playing? Well, that's up for debate. Is he going to... No. No, yes, no, no. What is he going to do? Is there any counter game here? I mean, if you're doing some checks, you're not going to do nothing. Apart from the fact... Can you do something like this? But this guy will be taken anyway. So, no, wait a second. If you play the check, this is a tempo and the check on the Black King. Black King has to play. And after this thing happens, then you're going to be doing something like Rook A8. And even if this thing takes place, I mean, you're just grabbing a pawn. Is that a good plan? Ladies and gents, is that Rook D8 check tempo will allow White to play Rook A8? Looking at Black's weakness on A6? Just tell me your thoughts, guys. What do you think about this idea? Is that enough of a counter game? Just tell me what do you think, guys. I mean, if you find a better idea or something else, I really want to know it. Yeah, I like to get people to think. That's very important. True. Yeah, but I'm doing with check, king moves, they take the pawn. Okay. Okay. No, you can't because you're dropping your knight. So David, if rook d8, assume king g7, rook a8. Wait a second. Rook takes. Looks like we're dropping a pawn. By the looks of it. What else can Pragg play here? What else can Pragg play? This is such a nice move that Fabi played. Rook c7. What a move. What a move. Incredible move. My days. And this knight on b6 just takes all the squares. You can't even you can't even move your other rook to try and do something. This is unbelievable. The engine says it's minus 0.33, but it feels incredibly difficult for white to either protect the pawn on a4 or at least to generate a counter attack, a counter game. I mean, how does black do something here? Sorry, how does white do something here? Let's check. Bishop f1 is the engine move. Oh, I haven't checked the engine just yet. Bishop f1 would be something a little bit unhuman. You know why? Because normally you may want to keep this bishop like this. And when you go behind your own rook, it's because probably... okay. Bishop f1, rook takes, check, moves, rook a8. That's the idea, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the engine's idea? I haven't checked with the engine yet, but I think that might be the sequence. Something like that. So bishop f1, I mean something like this. Rook takes, check, plays, and rook a8. That might be the whole stuff, the whole sequence. Bishop f1, king g. Okay, yeah, that's the thought, because bishop f1, the engine says king g7, moving preemptively in order not to being checked. Yes, that is the major thought. Again, still advantageous for black. Still a bit better for black. But yeah, bishop f1. Yeah, bishop, that makes sense. And he did play it. Pragg plays like a machine. Now, it's to be seen if Fabi does respond king g7. Because I think this is the idea. If they take, we're going to have check tempo, then rook a8. Yes. Let's go back to Magnus Carlsen and Abasov, and let's see what those guys do. Let's see who's making into the final tomorrow, people. Yeah, I said about this one. I said about the b4. a6 and b4. I said about that thought. Let's go just a little bit back, because we might have missed on something. Oh, yeah. Goes for the h2. That is very visible. g3. Hitting the queen. Queen c3. And h-pawn. Simply to undermine the pawn structure, allowing the black queen access to h2. So if this h4 happens, you can't really take, because queen h7, that'd be a problem for black, a big for white, big problem. So he's not going to take. If h4 he's not going to take, you're going to leave it as it is. Takes and takes. That's what is. And we'll see what happens. But now it's Magnus's turn. Queen, wait a second, h5, b4, h4, you don't do nothing with whites, takes, hitting the queen, and now Magnus has to think. Well, you've got to take on c5 for tempo, check. You must take on c5 with tempo and check. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the move. You don't want to take. Keep the tension and actually give them the pawn if they want to, because that would be a terrible, terrible pawn structure for white. So you cannot take the pawn on h4. You're going to suffer. I would say what happens next is queen c5 check. Unless I'm missing something big. But no, because that's a tempo, that's a check. And you can't allow white to survive with 2 pawns on the 5th rank. You can't. So queen c5 check. I wonder why didn't he play it even faster? Wasn't it obvious? Okay, he wants to trade. The Basov wants to trade because hopefully he'll be very happy. He'll be very happy about the pass pawn on d5. So he wants to get the guys off the board. It's just too dangerous. He's not gonna trade, I guess. He's gonna play back queen d6. What do you think, guys? Should black be playing queen d6 or trade? What do you think? He took with tempo? Yeah, he took a pawn. But I think that guy should have just stayed on h4. Just played back. I don't know. If you take and they take, they're going to be playing this kind of stuff. So queen takes, rook takes. Immediately block it with rook d8 to d6. You must block. Okay. You want to bet rook d6 straight away. That's what's going to happen. Rook d6. You got to fix. You got to stop that pawn. It's already gone. I'm afraid Magnus did trade. What the heck's happening here? Why didn't he block the pawn? And suddenly I can read minus 0.08. I'm not sure Magnus should have traded though. Okay, this is something fishy here. There's something. Why do I have to take the queen? Let's just go back. What if queen d6? I would like to play queen d6 rather than taking here. hg3, queen d6. Yeah, queen d6. Okay, so he takes, but he didn't trade the queen. Takes, and here I said queen d6. It's just you don't want to trade the queen. He traded. Queen d4. He lost. Yeah, he lost the advantage here. So he probably misevaluated. There's no reason to trade. This guy is a passed pawn. You have to keep the queen. That attacks. Weird. Queen d6 blocks the pawn. You could be thinking of this kind of ideas. This is very dangerous. He lost the leverage. He lost the leverage. Queen d6. I was right about that one. He lost the leverage completely. No, that now it's equal. Bloody hell. Why did he have to trade the queens? And he should have left the h4, I guess. Just leave the pawn there. I don't know what human would choose to take a pawn, having isolated pawn, isolated pawn, isolated pawn. So the h4 probably just stayed there. Psychologically, no one would touch that pawn. It's just horrible to having the pawn structure defending your king like the pawn scattered everywhere. Anyway, rook c7. Was it necessary? What about rook d6? Is rook d6 that bad? Maybe, David. Maybe, David. Maybe. No, I don't say you're not strong. I'm just saying that normally the queen in that position, you may want to keep the black queen on the board because you're creating a lot of threats with this kind of checks. Aside from, well, so you may want to do this kind of ideas. Which things, I mean, it's very much attacking. Oh yeah, and here, what's wrong with rook d6? Well, the engine actually does say rook d6. So yeah. I mean, my thought wasn't wrong. It's the first line of the engine. It's rook d6. You want to fix the pawn, not giving them any chance to move down the board. You have to fix the pawn. Boom, you have to block that guy. Because this is a problem. It's a passed pawn. Blocking rook d6 would be a very nice one. Anyway, he went for rook c7, which is the second line of the engine. And now he pushed the pawn here. The g3 to g4. Okay. Okay. Does he want to play this? Okay, I think I can move the bishop somewhere. Let's think. Let's just think a bit. You can't push the pawn now because you're going to drop the bishop on c4, so you're going to lose material. Thus, you have to either play the bishop now or next turn because you're going to double up on the c file. Where do you move your bishop? The question is. b3. Then it's going to happen this. You're going to drop your bishop. You're going to lose the bishop. Sorry, you're going to lose the pawn. So that's the reason he pushed a4. In case you wonder, guys, why did the Basov play the a4? Is because of this potential idea. A4, when this guy comes here, you're going to play this. And after this, attacking you, you're going to move again. Where? Here? This. And what? This? They're going to be pinning your bishop. And this? This is a pass-up. The problem for Magnus, if there is any problem for black, would be because of this pawn. If he manages to take the pawn, I think it's cool. I think it's very cool. So after rooks are doubling on the c file, people, what do you do with this bishop? In regards to the bishop, what do you do about that bishop? After rook d8, c8. Because I think that's what Magnus is going to play. Probably. Probably that's what's going to play. What do you do with the bishop on c4? How do you defend this guy? What do you do? What do you play? You gonna play this kind of stuff? And this? For this? Can you do this little dance? Bishop b3 would be rook c3. David. Is it that bad? Bishop d3 and then perhaps bishop e4? Given the fact you can't be harassed by any pawns? Placing the bishop here? Given a chance, maybe this? Does that look meaningful? This, and this? Well, Magnus not going to just sit and wait, that's for sure. He's not just going to let you do this kind of stuff that easy. But as an idea, if rook plays here, you can afford bishop d3 and bishop. Wouldn't you like to have the bishop on e4? So let's just put it this way. That's a playable line, David. I don't say no. But if I am to ask you now, no, you play bishop d3 after rook c8. Yeah, they could. Or they can't. Or they can't. Rook c, d3, you take, and this, or you take with the rook. Or you take with the rook. This. You take with the rook then. Do you? You sure? I think you're going to be dropping some stuff here. Bishop d3. So if rook d8, c8, bishop d3. I don't think you can touch this pawn. Because we got this hitting the rook with tempo regardless. Bishop d3 or bishop b3? I think I like bishop d3. I would spend 5-10 minutes with white. After Magnus plays rook d c8, I would really look at bishop d3 because I want the bishop to actually be on e4. That's where you want to have your bishop. You want to have your bishop hitting at b7 constantly. So that would be probably a very interesting thought. Probably a very good one too. Because bishop d3 and bishop e4 also stops any check. That's another quality. And you always have the wonderful stuff with. So he didn't double. He goes for the weakness. Now let me just do something here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just play rook to c8. I want to see if the engine actually loves it. Well, I mean, if he appreciates bishop d3 is a good one or a terrible one. So they're still going up and down. I really want to see this. And now black's going to punish white with rook takes. Wait a minute. Rook takes. Rook takes is the only correct move, not bishop d. Rook takes. Rook takes. Rook takes. Bishop plays. Hold on a second. What's going on here? Don't I play just this? What did I miss? What the hell did I miss here? What's wrong with the... What's going on? Oh, rook c5. I just lost the pawn. Rook c5. So I don't take the bishop after all. Ah, that's the reason why. That's the reason why. Let's go back. That's exactly why. Okay, makes sense. This move attacks a pawn. You can't do b5 because you're going to drop a pawn. So what? Bishop b3? Or bishop d3? No, you can't do bishop d3. Bishop e2? Bishop b3. Bishop b3 now. I think it's just kind of forced. Bishop b3. Kind of forced move. I think it kind of is. Unfortunately. What about rook c3? You're going to play rook b4? I mean, what else can you do? So bishop b3, rook c3, rook d4, b4. At least you could do that. Probably with an equal game, I hope. Bishop b3. Let's see. Bishop b3. Okay, okay. A bit advantage for black here. Still going up and down the eval bar. Then probably this one is the strongest for Magnus to continue with. Yes, I would say. And now I want to see the eval bar if it's decently for white after this kind of defense have been conceived here. And now rook to b4. That's what I said before, but that must be a terrible stuff here. Must be a terrible thing. Why? What is going on? What is going on? Is the rook trapped or something? A5, rook e4. Yeah, the rook is trapped. They got to move away, and this guy is sort of gone. They can't stay on the d file. Nice one. Wow. So if this rook c3, what are you doing? A2 and then this or this? Or d3? I think David said something about rook d3. Was it you, David? I think you said something about rook d3 at some point. Either rook d1 to d3 or rook d... No, rook d1? Because if you do this, you're dropping a4. So you got to play this kind of stuff? I mean, do you have any other options? Is there any other option for white? Okay. So probably that might be the correct line for Abbasov here. This and then just simply this. Okay. Because at the minute now it says minus 0.09. So that's what we're having with this, guys. Let's go quickly to see what Pragg and Fabi do. Let's see this guys now. Whose turn is it? Pragg's, no, Fabi's turn. Oh, that was that very, very funky position. Knight hits the rook. You just take the pawn? Or you just take the one on e4? Which one do you take? If you take this one, probably you're having this, but then you're going to take the other guy? Might that be? Or you take this guy first? Then you're going to drop on the B file, that is. Where? Probably this is not a good idea because of this. Is there any other... The rook's being hit. You got to move the rook. B6, B8. B6, B8. The only squares for black to play the rook. Rook B6, Rook B8. What else can we go with the rook? B6, Rook B8. Can you attack the white rook? Can you play this? Can you play C4? Takes. Nah, you're gonna lose the rook and the pawn. So probably Rook B6, Rook B8. Huh. The problem is the B3 knight is under threat from the rooks, so we gotta maintain the rook on the B file seemingly, unless there is a tactic hidden somewhere. But probably Rook B6, Rook B8. Let's find out. Rook B7. I mean, Rook B8, I can understand Rook B8. That makes sense. Probably Rook B6, but not that strong because probably what? No, I don't understand why. Rook BB7? Yeah, Rook BB7, exactly. The reason I'm not incredibly clear why rook bb7 is because this guy, if he goes back, then you have to play the rook again, potentially. And you're looking at this. Rook bb7, then if bishop g2 and this happens, you're suddenly going to have two pieces under attack. So, after all, rook b8. Maybe rook b8 after all. Maybe. Rook bb7. Why would you play rook b7? Because you want to... Okay. Probably black would play rook b7 because you want to stop, but that is just not possible. It is possible after this pawn goes here and the knight moves. Then white can win the 7th rank. Right. So rook bb7 is based on the idea, to my understanding. Yeah, and bishop g2 immediately. Exactly. We said that already. So rook b7 is based on the idea that if white pushes the pawn, the black knight on f6 has to play, and you don't want to let white playing rook on the 7th rank. So whereas if you went to b8, white could have potentially pushed the pawn. You sort of move the knight, and then in principle that become accessible for the rooks. I'm saying maybe. But now after rook b7, exactly my thought was, what if bishop g2? And the engine actually said bishop g2 makes a lot of sense, threatening actually e5, attacking two pieces at the same time. It's a difficult one. They still give black advantage here, but game's not over. And there is a lot of threats. There's a lot of game here. There is a lot of threats happening. Material is the same, and this bishop still means it's a bishop. Not mentioning the bishop still looks at this way, looks this way. You got a lot of ideas to think about. You can't do this because knight e4. So you can't play rook c3. Probably because knight e4. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I guess rook c3 will be immediately punished with knight e4. And bishop g2, though, looks very sensible here. Bishop g2. I think so. Let's go and see what Magnus and Abasso play. What this guy did. They do any progress here? Okay, so what happened last time when we left? We had... Oh, we got a few things happen. So, yes, bishop b3, rook attacks, rook d1 to d3. That was the last thing we saw on our board. This is this. King c7, you get the king to play because you need it. The king needs to come closer here. Do you know why? Because you want to. First thing first, king here means that white couldn't have pushed the pawn. Secondly, you want to get the king here. Theoretically, you want to get the king here. Because you want to stop the pawn from advancing. This is very important. You mustn't allow the bishop. And you mustn't let white push the pawn. So, they're very important. Rook here. Because if you do this, it's going to happen this. Now, probably, can you do... No, you can't. This is... Actually, you kind of can. Given this, then this. Can you play bishop f7? Check. Blocks. Takes. Okay, I think I'm happy. I think it's okay. But who's better? If bishop f7, rook e7, rook d7, rook takes, king takes, who's better? And now this guy becomes an isolated pawn. You need to very quickly march with the king. So again, bishop, rook, thing, takes. King moves. Again, rowish. Hi there, Aditya. This. So, plays this one, takes. Goes. And this. Yeah, they're still, defended. The bishop is overworked. Looks like. So, bishop f7, rook, bang, takes. King advances, moves. Let's just play this. Let's see if the engine hates it. What the heck's going? Oh my god, it's losing the piece immediately. It's losing the piece immediately. It just loses the piece right now. Disaster. Loses the piece straight away. Who said White's gonna play this? No, they're not gonna play this. They're gonna win a piece straight away. So how do you stop this? You can't move here because check. Rook to e6 check. What do you do? You play rook? No, you're dropping the bishop. You can't do that. You can't do rook. What does Magnus play here? Really, just tell me what's black supposed to be playing? You can't move the king. Well, you can. Check, and then you go... so you played this, check. Can you do c5? Can you do c5? But then this. Hitting this. This is very not clear. How? Okay, this is an interesting attacking thing. What happened is bishop g... So Magnus played bishop g6. He played bishop g6. And now it's Abbasov's turn. Now I reckon if this were to happen, this is the move. Now I guess this is the move. If rook e7, rook d7. And I don't know if he wants to trade or not. But definitely the engine evaluates it as perfectly balanced now, 0.00. Hello, Saramania. Rook, 7, rook. Yeah, do you want to take? Probably draw. But is this the best move for white to play? Getting better for black because of this? This and this. Okay. Bit better for black. I mean, it's getting seriously better. Because on long term, potentially on long term, black would be hunting this guy all the time. Yes. Oh, it's it's actually two guys here on the queen side versus one. It's 2 pawns on the queen side versus one. So probably that's the reason. That's the reason why. Even if it's 4 pawns versus 4 pawns. Why is black looking better here? Because those 2 pawns connected on the 7th rank, it's more than one single pawn on the A file. And you got to do something like this forever. I mean, keeping the tension here. And these guys are on dark squares, and these guys are on white squares. Maybe this, and that, and you create another. I mean, that might be a plan, you reckon? But I'm not sure, actually, Magnus going to play this, or Abbasov going to choose to do that. Bishop g6 and g5 happened, disrupting the 2 pawns and actually isolating them. Oops. Interesting move. Would you take on g5? The problem is the black king can't move on the d6 because of this kind of checks, which not just checks the king, but attacks on f6 twice. So that's another subtlety, I guess. If black king d6, we're going to have this. And I think it's going to go very bad for black. So what do you play? And if you take, you will never be able to do this because of this check, and actually you drop the bishop. This is interesting. What is black supposed to play? Very nice game here. Very nice game and incredibly effective moves by Abbasov here. Black needs to tread very carefully. And such a good column for the white rook. Why does the engine keep saying, well, it's not that much of an advantage? Hello, Tom. Good morning to you too. Rook d6 would probably be answered with Rook e7. And then you have to play the rook back because I'm attacking g7. And then yeah, maybe. Rook e8, I think I'm playable because of the bishop. So rook d6, you can't play rook 8, but maybe you could play a check on e7, that is. Bishop f7 might be complicated because of this. That was a thought previously. Bishop f7 makes sense, but sort of makes sense. After this one, we might just simply lose that bishop after check. Mm-hmm. Ah, there was chess. Yeah, dealing with beginners, novices, intermediates, indeed. Yes. Yeah, no. A rook d6. Rook d6, check, blocks it. Probably you don't want to take, and you're going to retreat your rook. Rook e8, trading off now. Rook takes, bishop takes. Then you go with the king, you're marching with the king. Interesting. Okay, takes and takes. You have to take now, or you take first? No, because you're making the white king coming closer. So probably you're going to take the pawn. You're not going to take because the white king actually gets closer to the action. So you don't take the rook because you helping your opponent to get the king closer. Yeah, we all improving, guys. As long as we understand as many things as possible, I think, yeah, every understanding contributes to improving the game, even if a little bit. So I think the reason for which black didn't take is because he would have helped the white king to move closer. So pawns have been traded. Takes and takes, and that's what it is. This guy's on a dark square. That's good. Okay. White square, white square, white square. 2 pawns on dark square. So this is important. Just as another idea, you would like to have in the ending the pawns on on the color opposite the opponent's bishop. So if this bishop is on a white square, you theoretically would love to have your pawns on dark squares. Probably you need to move the king closer on d6 straight away. This is incredibly important. King d6, this is, I think, very important to happen. This guy has to stay blocked, thus the bishop is limited. King d6. Make a little bit of pressure, probably like this. And again, I think we had something like this in our previous sequence in which we imagined that black is a bit better because of the connected pawns. 2 black pawns versus 1 white pawn here. And as long as the black king is here, the bishop is on f7, white will have to forever stay defending the pawn. I think he'll play for a win, actually, because of what we said. I think you're going to play king d6, bishop f7. That forces white to keep king on d4 and bishop on b3. And he'll try to see if he can do something with these two guys. a6, b5. He'll try to do that. Just drop me a message on my YouTube, or there is an email, I think. On all of my pages, there is an email, so... And we can definitely look at that. So, king d6, bishop f7, a6, b5 ideas. a5, still on a dark square. I thought maybe king d6, bishop f7, just to keep, and then you decide if you want to do it this way. Okay. Was it that bad after all? Was it that bad, king d6? Is it that bad? Get the king on d6? It's not bad. The engine likes it. It's just not bad. Not bad at all. This guy here, can I play this? Of course I can. That's not bad at all. Exactly. I mean, it's very decent. Then I don't know. Let's say white plays this. Can I play this and that? That would be a bad one. Because it allows more freedom, maybe for the bishop or something. Is a6 and b5 a good one? Or this one just stops everything? Huh. Very difficult. Yeah, okay, draw. A5. Magnus chose king. King D6, of course. Yeah, F4. Yeah, I've said that one too. And now guess what? They'll be playing this probably. Or maybe what? Okay, this is a draw now. Yeah, you can't force things through. This white king will stay on d4 forever. The d6 will stay exactly where they are. If you want to fix this weakness and keep it there, you're going to have to play bishop f7. So, okay, he doesn't. He wants to move the bishop where? How? What does he want to do? This? Why? For this? So probably bishop e2 in order to push b5. Yeah, creating a passer on a. Probably. Yeah. Look, it's a draw. This one. This one's a draw. Right, I can see the same guy with the same picture change the name twice. From Aditya to Master or something. Okay, probably you're free to do whatever. That's fine. So I reckon now this and this. Bishop e7 and then b5. Huh. Probably. I mean, what else? And still probably a draw. Probably Magnus wants to create some disturbance with this free pawn here. Maybe he gains this guy, but probably still a draw though. I mean, the engine says it's minus 0.06, so it can't be too much of. Hi there, Stuart. Hmm. I mean, what else can you do here? It's a Basov's turn. Probably you play this? No, you cannot, because that's why you lose. So that's okay. This is a super blunder. Did you see that, this guy? If you're willing to actually, no, because this. Yeah, but then you're gonna have this, and then you're gonna have to play back, and then okay. Do you know what the Basov want to do? He wants to go here and attack this guy. King e4. Still a draw. I remember yesterday Prague and Fabi had a draw and they kept playing for like 20, 30 moves until the very, 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 very end. The engine said constantly it's a draw and they kept pushing and pushing and pushing because humans are fallible and they might make a blunder in the end. Okay, he wants to play obviously king f5 and attacking this guy. Probably Magnus can play this. So if you do this, you're gonna take. It's difficult. He wants to cut access. You're not gonna get on f5, wants to say. You're not gonna get on f5 with your king. Yeah, I think they're gonna play now until the very end. They're gonna be using their 20 minutes each until either someone makes a massive blunder or they just draw and they're gonna play in tie breaks tomorrow or something. Yeah, absolutely. Nice little one. All right, fellas, let's go and have a quick look at Fabi and Prague. So this is a draw now, unless either Magnus or the other guy just blunder. And this one looks very drawy. Oh, well, okay, bit of an advantage for white here, but this one is far, far from over. This is so many tactics. This is crazy tactics here. Whose turn is it? Bishop g2, which we did say. That hits the rook here. And if you look at this here, this is a problem. You could always play this, I would say, but no, you cannot, because white attacks it like 3 times. You can't play the knight on d5. Unless there is another subtlety here. So you can bet Prague wants to play e5. I mean, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. You want to play e5. And now Fabi tries to incorporate the plan. What is he going to do? What do? Do you push now? No, you don't. Because after this happens, actually you can. I think it's cool. Is he going to play c4? Is Fabi going to play c4? That, I mean, there's no wonder now you're gonna actually spend a couple of minutes here. This is a difficult one. This is a very tough position. Actually, this is the critical stuff you want to be very certain of. Whatever you commit yourself to do now, you either just mess it up massively, or you better make sure you do the right stuff. No wonder you're using all the time. It's black's turn. E5. That's a very good one because it blocks the pawn from moving forwards. Yeah, it fixes a pawn that would be eager to move forwards. So E5 makes a ton of sense. It does make a lot of sense, E5. I would imagine this one could be a potential move, and then maybe this guy wants to come back on F1 afterwards. So yeah, I don't say no. Aditya, I think that was your previous name, right? That's how you sign up. Aditya Yadav. So Aditya, yes, E5, and then perhaps this. And then at some point, probably Prague would be thinking about this one as well. Yeah, maybe. Makes sense. No, he didn't play. He actually chose to do knight G4. Long-term plan, ladies and gents, long-term plan. After this guy goes God knows where, and if this rook were to capture on B2, you're looking at the F2. But there is something here. Prague's gonna kick this knight away straight away. He gonna send the knight away now. Does that work? Or I'm missing something here. Is it this? Is it this? What's going on here? Knight G4. Can I just play H3? Is there a problem? Guys, is there a problem with H3 here? Yeah, the problem is probably they want to go on E5. That's what it is. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. No, H3, knight E5. That's what Bobby wants to do. Bobby didn't want to play here because he wants to go back after you play H3, knight F6. No. Bobby wants, after you play... actually, Bobby wants to make you to play H3 so that he can actually put the knight on E5. That's what he want to do. So actually, I wonder, probably White's going to just lose a tempo, massive tempo with H3. Because you're going to face a problem, your rook's being hit. So you may just very well play rook D6 straight away. So you may just want to play rook right now. Because knight's going to come on E5 and you're going to have to play the rook anyway. Now Prague has to think. And it's such a difficult tactically position. And now Prague does uses his minutes. He does use the minutes now. It's a tough one. The engine gives minus 0.21, but it's such a difficult tactical position here. This is incredibly delicate balance. Very delicate balance. Makes sense, rook d6. It does make sense. Rook c3? I'm not sure. But this one does make sense. Unless you guys have a different opinion, I'd be interested to hearing your thoughts. Okay, so that's Prague and Fabi. Very tough ending. I really can't make too many predictions here. But definitely this one should be a dead draw. And they're going to be playing tie breaks tomorrow or something. So, very drawish again. Where were we last time, people? We were... Just 2 sec. We've seen that. We've seen this. And last time we've seen bishop to g4. Bishop to c2. I mean, what else? I mean, you don't even know. There is just... What do you want to play? To either this and then maybe this. It's very delicate. A very delicate balance. Okay, they should be drawing probably. No, you can't do this. This is crazy. Because this and this, potentially. Although, this one you got to play where? Here? It's such a delicate. You got to be incredibly careful here. Then maybe this blocking. Very tough. Ooh. Hello, Step 65. How's it going, brother? Hi there, fellas. Good to see you. Thanks for the guy with the raid. Who's the guy with the raid? Maybe I can raid them today, tomorrow, proximate occasion. Who's the guy? Who's the person with the raid? Oh, Clint Chess. Hey, thank you, Clint. Thanks, brother. Appreciate, man. Appreciate, brother. Clint Chess. Have I subscribed? Have I followed you on Twitch? I think I did. Have I? Thanks, my friend. Cheers, bud. Okay. So, we're gonna see a tie break tomorrow because Magnus and Abasov, this guy's gonna be drawing. Looks like they're gonna be drawing. That is if someone doesn't make a massive blunder due to psychological reasons. You know, it's very emotionally charged, and still 18 minutes. Well, okay, 17 minutes, good 17 minutes for both of them. They got plenty of time to settle things here. That's very kind of you to say, Clint. Appreciate a lot. Very kind of you, man. Okay. Well, it may happen. All sorts of funky stuff might happen. Because they are humans. And yeah, humans strive to play perfectly, but sometimes we may do errors. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Emotional, psychological fatigue always probably makes you playing bad moves. This one is more tactical. It's more difficult to assess because I mean, look at this. It's a ton of tactics. E4 to E5 means that the bishop hits the rook. That's the first glance. So he said, I'm not gonna just keep my pawn here. Let's just push them forwards. If this guy were to take, let's see the pawns, 4, 2, 6, 2, 3, 5. So actually he sacked a full pawn. Pragg just sacked a full pawn. The problem is knight e5 is bishop takes. If knight takes, bishop gets a pawn. It's incredibly difficult here. No problem, Clint. I totally understand, dude. After like 2-3 hours of streaming, I'm also super tired, and absolutely. That's all right, brother. I'll see you with next time. I'll see you tomorrow, my friend. Or if you're streaming this evening, I'll be watching your stream or something. I think I followed you already. And appreciate, brother. Thanks. So, guys, this is a very tactical, difficult position here. No wonder they go 7-9 minutes each. This is so tough because there are so many twists and turns here. So equal material, 6-6 pawns, 2 rooks, knight and bishop. This is so difficult. You're taking a rook with the bishop. I mean, first thing first, it's Fabi's turn. Knight e5, you grab a pawn right now. Bishop takes. Okay. Knight takes. Okay. What are you going to do now? Do you take on a6? If you take on a6, knight's going to take your guy on b2, attacking the rook on d1. So I'm not sure who said the knight e5. I'm not sure knight e5 works very well for black. Looks like is not going to work for black if knight takes on e5. Knight b2, rook b1. Can't I just simply go on c4? I did, yeah. So it doesn't look very good for black to take on e5, going down this route with bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes, Knight takes, rook b1, knight c4. Yeah, loses because of the bishop then. Uh-huh. Can I go then a4? What about a4? a4 is takeable, right? The engine says it's just a very modest advantage for black, but I don't think it starts with knight e5. I don't think it starts with knight e5. It's not knight e5. It's got to be something else, ladies and gents here. It's got to be something else. I don't think it's knight e5. And we're going to ask the engine after all, but just wanted to see if our limited human mind resources would be able to reveal the correct path. But doesn't look like knight e5 is the right strike. And don't feel weird because you're not able to see it very clearly. Neither Fabi. That's why he does spend a bunch of minutes here, because it's so damn difficult. Yeah, that's another element, Aditya. Absolutely. So 95 doesn't work. It does. I don't think it works, 95. And because 95 doesn't work, why do you think Fabi spent so much time? Because he's not happy with 95. If Fabi was happy with 95, he would have played it. If he was happy about knight captures e5, he would just took the knight, the pawn. He did take it though. Knight e5. Rook b8 better, knight e5 playable. No, they're both playable. Rook b8. Rook b8 was the better move. Knight e5 still playable. This is a very difficult line. This is a very difficult line. Knight takes e5. Bishop takes b7. Okay, so now I'm just going to play looking only at the eval bar. What do you play with black here? We said what? Taking? Not necessarily bad for black. What is white going to play? What do you play with white? Take on a7 or just grab? No, you just grab this guy. This is very difficult. Bishop takes a6. Oh, man. What do you play? Bishop takes a6. Bishop takes a6. And knight b2? Or not? And you got to play c... No, you can't play c4. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Bishop a6. What does black play? Do you take on b2? What's the problem here? Oh, boy. What is black playing here? Do you play c4? What do you play here? Oh, my God. c4? This is a very tough line. And the eval bar goes up and down like a yo-yo. I mean, it just goes up and down all the time. It's like the engine is not certain anymore. I mean, you know, he's just seeing a line, say, oh, okay, that's go. Oh, no, it's not good. If they were a human, but they're not. So they're still evaluating. The engine still evaluates. It goes up and down. It's very complicated. Yes, step C4 is weird as hell. It's so weird. I don't know what to say about C4. I really don't know what to say about C4. I got to spend 5-10 minutes. And the engine said minus 0.60. Now the engine says minus 0.3. So go figure. No, no one is sure. That is why they go with so low on time, because it's so bloody difficult. Let's go back to the actual moves on the board, guys. Knight e5 had been played. Bishop takes had happened. Knight takes. So we discussed these lines even before we actually inquired with the engine. And bishop takes a6. And c4. There you go. There you go. c4. Played by Fabi. And suddenly, the big advantage, minus 0.4, minus 0.6, which, with the line I had suggested, had been lost, apparently. It's doing a bit better for white and not so great for black, which lost those 40 points advantage, minus 0.40, minus 0.30, 50 or something. Very weird. Bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. And this guy is a passer, and you've got to move the knight. Is bishop supposed to take on c4, ladies and gents? You tell me, is it, I mean, no one knows, Aaron. Not even the, I mean, the engine says potentially there is a small advantage for black, but there's no one on the planet that will tell you who wins at this stage. There's no one on the planet that can answer that question of yours. That's the beauty of the game. We're watching it. We sometimes asking the engine. The commentators use the eval bar, and we try to decipher. It's too early to call it a win for white or black. It's way too early. There is no massive advantage for anybody. Bishop c4. Bishop c4. What do you play here? With black. Knight b2. Rook. Knight b2. Rook b1. Knight c4. Knight b2. Rook b1. Hitting. That's what it is. There'll be tie break tomorrow. If this thing is a draw, they will have to play tie breaks tomorrow. And it's still too difficult to assess. Materially is equal, but this guy is a passer. So I suspect Prague would try to do the best he can to push this guy down the board. If this were to happen, though, which we do not know. Because after bishop takes c4, after Prague played bishop c4, Fabi doesn't do nothing. He just doesn't take. He just doesn't move. It's incredibly difficult still. And should you take? Should you play 9b2? If you go with the 9b2 type of ideas, apparently, what is a little bit of an advantage for? Wait a second. What did we say here? Oops. Still a bit of advantage for black with the passer. Well, a bit, not that much, but a bit of an advantage for black. But bloody hell, why is that? Because of this type of ideas? Potentially? It's very difficult. This guy is a passer, though. You got to be incredibly careful about that passed pawn. It's so difficult. This is a serious thing. The pawn on a4 is a very serious matter. For any human player, this pawn actually would be incredibly scary. So Fabi actually is a little bit concerned about this guy. So he's actually thinking what the heck to do. Yeah, easier said than done. Well, if you ask the engine, they will tell you what to do. They do not have an engine available, so it's not easy. You can't just say it's easy to stop the pawn. Not easy at all. It's easy if you were an engine, but you're not an engine, are you? Knight f2. Now, this is something off the book. I didn't even consider that knight f2 thing. Well, actually, the one of the two black knights would have fallen anyway, so why not just giving it for an extra pawn? Okay, now rook is attacking c2 with tempo, threatening check, and also looks at a4. Okay. Very much again super drawish-y. Ooh. What do you play? Check? This is oh my god, what's going on here? If you do this and white captures, you gotta play this check and you take this guy and this pawn's gonna go here. Then you're gonna have to go to the 7th rank and stay there. Whoa. Yes, Aditya. I'm not sure about that one. 1-2, 1-2. What do you mean the king will be coming closer to the center faster? When? In what scenario? This guy is a problem. And now Prague is having to. They need. Fabi needs to take some of the pawns. So now he's attacking twice here. Oh boy, this is very scary. What do you do? Can't even do a check. Might be able to take this guy after all. Yeah. So when you do this, you could take the pawn you can't take because you're gonna collect the rook on the back rank. Yeah, maybe Aditya. Hmm. Very hard to say. Oh man, this is so scary. He needs to take some of that pawn. He needs to take at least the pawn and then what? Stay with the rook behind the in front of the pawn. It's so uncomfortable for black to play. Yeah, you do have 4 pawns versus 4. But what matters absolutely is the piece's position, piece's activity, piece's position. That's what matters. It's a nice pawn island here. Not bad at all. But you got a problem with these guys. Okay, so he's gonna take a pawn back now. I mean, not back. He's gonna take a pawn. The engine still says now it should be a draw. Theoretically, should be a draw. Hmm. What is Prague gonna do? So if Rook B, this what happens straight away. So the B3 pawn is gonna fall. Can you push this guy forwards? Maybe, maybe not. Can you do Rook C1? Rook C1. If you play this, gonna have this. Might that be a thought? This is Rook D to C. King E3. Painful. Very, very, very difficult step. Just King E3. This is so difficult. Oh boy, this is so tough. Yeah, maybe King E3. Yeah, King E3. Yeah, King E3 had been played. Hi there, Joseph. I don't know who Tanya is, but I gotta thank Tanya if she sent you here. She must have had some influence on you. So yeah, send my regards to Tanya. I don't know who she is, but I appreciate really. Okay, you got a rolling down your beautiful pawn island here. This is very strong. All the pawns are connected, so they'll be very easy to rolling down the pawns with the king support. So that should be very much playable. The problem still lies on those two guys. I'm surprised he actually sort of didn't capture. Well, you can't because of this kind of idea. Okay, okay. And the engine says still draw, but this is such a difficult draw to obtain. So yeah, it is a draw if you were an engine. Tanya from Chess24. Okay, she is a commentator. Yes, it's such dev, right? It's about Tanya. So I really do. I'm gonna send her a message thanking her for because she sent you here. If that's what happened, very nice of her. Oh boy, this is so difficult. And 3 minutes on the clock. So Prague is 3 minutes. The other guy 4 minutes. Fabi 4 minutes. Prague 3. They're gonna go in time scrambles very soon now. That's what's gonna happen. Looking at this, man. There are some checks. We gotta be careful though. Gotta be careful though. This guy would be hit. So you've got to push the pawn wisely. King f6. But it's Braxton though. What do you play with the white? Do you move on the back rank? Do you attack the knight right now straight away? Can you play rook c1, rook dc? Can you play this? King d2. Okay, he wants to attack with the king and support the b3 with the king and actually facilitate pawn's advancement with the king's help. King c3. That looks good. Interesting. But now, can't you just take with check? Can't you just take on b3 with check? So you just nick a pawn right now. You just take a pawn. Knight b3 check. Knight takes, rook takes. Thank you very much. You make it easy for Fabi now. Whoa. So now he made it easy for Fabi. Correct me if I'm wrong, but actually it's just easy for Fabi now. Because knight takes with tempo, and actually Fabi now it's relieved. Unless I'm missing something, which is always probably. No one can answer that question, Dinesh. No one on the planet can tell you who's going to win at this stage. No one. People can just do predictions or something, but it's just so not clear. Nothing's clear. Why didn't they take on b3, for instance? Why didn't Fabi take on b3? You take a pawn with tempo, you just take this guy and get on the third rank, perhaps rook a3. You might be able to take the other pawn, maybe king f6. This, I mean, hey. I think it's goodish for black, or at least he might get even better. Why did he push this guy? Why didn't he take on b3? Now rook is being hit, right? Rook b8. Okay. I assume if this one, then this, and actually it's not very good for white, so Pragg can't push that pawn. Can he just attack the knight, or can he play this? Is he going to play this? Very, very, very likely. Very, very, very likely. It's incredibly sharp position. Guys, this is incredibly, incredibly, incredibly tactical, very sharp, and boy, that's a tough one. It's such a tough ending. And I mean, this is semifinals of Fide World Cup. You can't expect something less. And definitely more exciting than the match with Abasov and Magnus, which was completely draw. It's already ended. So that's the issue now. They're going to go low on time, and someone's going to make some sloppy moves. And Pragg really uses those minutes, seconds. Every second matters absolutely. And this is incredibly difficult. This is a move that challenges the G pawn. It's just this is serious. And you're looking at this. So in the minute Pragg pushes to attack the Black Knight, they're going to be jumping probably immediately on e4. Possibly. Again, very complicated because this, very complicated. Very complicated. Oh yeah, knight on a1, spot on step. That's the case. Knight on a1 is painfully positioned. Knight on a1 to just look after the b3 pawn is an incredibly unhappy knight. I agree with you. That knight on a1 is such a sad knight. Right in the corner, in the most unhappiest place in the universe, in the chess universe. a1 square. Crazy. So, Pragg took on f4 first. But these guys are connected. That's nice. King, f6, f5, potentially in the future. I think Fabio would like to do something with that b3, but what? What do you do? Still Pragg's the move, though. Okay, so Fabi's plan, if I see this correctly, would just be moving down the pawns. You got knight here, you're gonna play and move the pawns down, and you also have to play the king. But probably that's the long-term plan. Long-term plan. This guy can't move because of this, and that's good. The king can't move on the b file. They're gonna have to play on the d file, and then you always have this kind of harassment. Got to be careful. You got to tread very carefully. So for Fabi, this. Not that easy though. Probably want to play king first, because if you move the pawn, might be having this. And Prague is going 17 seconds, guys. And the problem is, I'm afraid we're going to see some errors due to time scrambles because of the time issue. That's what's going to happen, unfortunately. Unfortunately, time is the main killer. In chess as in life, I often say. He pushed the a5 pawn. He rolls down its own pawns. And the engine says draw, but blimey, I don't think it's going to end up in a draw. I got a few reasons. I don't think it's going to end up in a draw. First, we witnessing two humans. One, the situation is very difficult and very sharp. They're going to be doing a pawn race now. This guy's going to be coming down. This guy's going to be moving up. And we're still having two pieces on the board. Maybe Fabi's Rook and Black Knight are more active than the White Knight on A1. So if you want to just put it this way. But I don't think we're going to see a draw. I don't think there's going to be a draw, guys. It can't be a draw. I don't think it's going to be a draw. Good news is, Prague's going to get half an hour in just, I mean, as soon as Fabi makes a move, it's going to be move 40. So they're going to be getting half an hour each. So they will have time to actually spend time and thinking properly, informed decision, so they'll be doing some good quality moves, hopefully, and this exciting ending gonna continue. And it's a pawn race. It's a pawn race. That's exactly what it is. Well, you can't push it, obviously, but just saying. A5 on the board. Now Fabi needs to make a move the next 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Would you move the king? Oopsie. Would you move king f6 and king f5? Is that bad? David, I normally do some arenas in the evenings. I don't know if this evening, though. I might need 4 players minimum. I normally do an arena on chess.com with the members of the club, which, by the way, anyone can join. And we can play arenas, but not at this very second. I really want to know who's qualifying in between these two guys. If, they draw, someone going to win, what's going on? So I really want to see the result for this one. And yeah, and potentially in the evenings we could try some arenas. White push the pawn, David. You talk about the a5 to a6. You're talking about this pawn. Well, you can, but I assume just knight takes. You can. Then probably you're thinking about this. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, that's one idea, but it's Fabi's turn, by the way. Yeah, the b pawn. It's Fabi's turn, but okay, I understand now. Oh, can white push the b pawn? Of course they can, and they should. Of course they can, and they should. But it's Fabi's turn. Yes, of course they can. I don't see why not. They actually should. because they need to create a little bit of space for the knight to come into place. You kick the black knight away. They gotta go somewhere, and we don't know where yet. Probably e4, maybe. So b4 can be pushed, and it should be pushed, because also you need to get the knight from a1 over to b3 or c2. You got to do something with that knight. You can't just keep the knight on a1 forever. And there you go. Knight e4 had been played even before white decided to play b4, David. So knight is on e4 now, checking the white king with tempo. Gotta move the white king, you are in check. Question is, where do you move the king? Do you want to move the king, over to the king's side to try to be close to this menacing problem? Pawns rolling down and the black knight on e4. You got to be very careful, because this knight is a massive headache and might be easily fork you. This is very difficult. Really difficult, tough. Actually, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. It's the end of. Prag's not going to do it, because now he's got half an hour and he's going to sit down and think. So unfortunately, he's going to have to stay on the C file. Unless he wants to go on the B too. So he can't move on the D file. Maybe D3, but no, this is just crazy. I mean, look, you've got this kind of problems. So you got to be incredibly careful. So you go B or you go on the C file. Where on the C file? I could not say. Here? C2, C4, where do you go? So let's look at those. You got this, you got this, you got this. I don't think you want to do any D move like this, because you're going to get forked and practically you're going to lose. Oof. Yes, yes. Positionally, psychologically, after knight e4 had been played, you are correct. I guess Caruana is slightly happier. Slightly. Not that much, but it's problematic for Pragg. And Pragg now, look at this. He just has to spend time. Where do you get the king? Yes, Step, exactly. It's a little bit cryable here. It's a little bit depressing. I mean, king... Oh, so... Well, no, of course not that one. I mean, it could be. King b2 and knight on a1. This is incredibly painful for white. Of course it is. Of course it is. I don't like it. There's a slight edge for black, but I don't want to play with whites here. It just feels incredibly limiting. It feels very limiting. Maybe king b2, and then you might be hoping for some checks. But then, king f6, defending this guy. You're going to go here? I'm going to have to play here. Gonna go back? Nah, they're not gonna do this. But definitely a check on the 7th rank could be potentially supporting some a6, a7 ideas. It could be. The engine couldn't possibly care, because they do not have feelings. So, for the engine's point of view, this cold, dead machine, it's a bit of an advantage for black. For a human, this is incredibly emotionally charged and very difficult. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. First, you got to move the white king out of check. And it's not a very easy find, because if you were, Pragg would have played it already. But he didn't. It's really tough. Probably b2. On the other hand, c, because you want to be one step closer to this nasty pawn coming down. This is really annoying. Really annoying for white here. I mean, knight e4 not just checks you. First, you can't go comfortably in this zone. I mean, this one is losing. This one is losing. You lose the rook if you go king d4 because of this. If you go king d3, you're going to drop the rook again. If you go where? I mean, you can't. You can't go on the d. And because you cannot go on the d, you'll stay on the c. And probably black plays this. So good luck with stopping that pawn. And if you want to make it more difficult for whites, you could always play this kind of stuff. And with the knight here, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. The knight here would also be always able to get that pawn when they promote, but in the meantime, you're just pushing this guy. So after knight e4 and king c2 or king b2, black pushes f3. And good luck stopping this. I'm afraid Prag's gonna use 10 more minutes. Just thinking what the heck to move, where to move the white king. It's such a tough one. I think way more difficult for Pragg than for Fabi. So the current position is way more problematic for Praggnanandhaa than for Caruana. The engine. This heartless killing machine. The engine says B2. Because king c2 still maintains the white king on a minefield of eternal checks and nasty pins and forks, sorry. So the engine says king b2 and the engine says f3. So I was right in my initial assessment. You want to push that f pawn down the board. You want to push it down. So the engine says king b2. Very sad for the white pieces here. And then f3 and then rook f1 and then you push it one more time. And if you tell me that's comfortable for white, okay. The engine says it's a draw, right? But hey, okay. So it's a draw with king b2, f3, rook f1, f2. It's a draw. All right. I just don't feel it as a draw. I mean, just if you are a human and playing this, regardless of the color, you are a human playing this with either color. You don't tell me you're drawing here. I mean, what human says, oh yeah, sure, that's a draw. Just what human would have this over the board or online and they would say to you, oh yeah, obviously it's a draw. Oh, it's such a draw. Of course it's not a draw. So Pragg spent like 7 minutes now. He spent like 7 minutes not deciding yet where to move the white king. Not that he's got too many options though, but he still doesn't know. The reason for opting on c2, the reason for this would be you would like to keep the white king closer to potentially this kind of traveling. And if you go on b2 step, and my other chess friends, if you go on the b, you are one step further away from the super problematic f pawn. So he's probably debating now if he should drop king c2 or king b2. That is why he spends 7-8 minutes now. Pragg is on like 7-8 minutes, still not placing the damn white king anywhere. Because exactly step is just so counterintuitive, king b2. You know, I mean, why would you do king b2? You're moving away from the f pawn. You're going behind this guy, which is currently under attack. This is so annoying. You know, I would say this ending, it's way more difficult psychologically for Praggnanandhaa than for Caruana. Caruana knows what he's got to do. For him, it's clear. He's got an easier maneuvering here. You want to play f3 and f2. This is it. This is the plan for black. Pawn f3, pawn f2. That's the stuff for black. White, oh. White will have to get a full rook on the f only to stop a pawn. And then you might be dreaming at some point. You might be dreaming to get knight c2. That is if you play king b2. You might be dreaming for knight c2. And I don't know what you plan on doing next. Knight e3. Really, I don't know. It's so tough. So if you play king c2, he's probably not happy with king c2 because you're taking knight c2. So let's just put it this way, Step. Pragg would probably like to play king c2 to stay closer to the f pawn, but I mean, you just see you're just taking the square from the knight. I mean, this is just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. If you play king b2, you're moving away from the f pawn, but still you have a chance to play knight c2. And I think the engine says king b2 step. exactly for this reason. You play king b2 because you have to get knight c2 at work. You must take that knight somewhere, and you take it via c2. Maybe knight e3. If this guy moves, you could play knight e3 and just, trying to stop them if they want to go for promotion. And maybe that's how you free up your rook, potentially. King b2, knight c2, and maybe that's how, and knight e3, and maybe this is how you actually free up the rook. Either go behind or, I don't know, checks and coming back on f and stuff like that. Maybe this is the reason why. Maybe, maybe. What do you think? Is it the case? Maybe that's why King b2 is favored by the engine? King b2 because it allows knight c2? Let me know. What do you think? So now, because we looked at the position so much, we could probably understand that King b2 is to be played. Again, look at Prague's time. Look at Prague's clock. 19 minutes. And he just had half an hour, people. He had half an hour. This is move number 40. He had half an hour and he thinks. I'm going to refresh the page just to making sure they haven't moved and stuff. They might have. Okay, I'm going to accept this friendship. No, he hasn't moved. I've refreshed the page because I mean, it could be that the engine maybe or chess.com server or something, they didn't upload the move. But no, he didn't move, guys. He didn't move, brother. He fought for like 17 minutes. 17 minutes, he didn't move the king. Your guess is good as mine. He didn't move the king in 17 minutes. This is a very delicate position here. He spent tremendous amount of time, and he hasn't moved the king out of check. I thought we established on the D, it's absolutely suicidal. You can't play the king on the D file because you're going to lose the rook regardless. You only got c2 and b2, and only if you look at the fact you play king b2, you enable knight c2. Only for this reason, probably you should go for this. Oh man, he should have moved ages ago. Yes, Cy from Wales, he should have played ages ago king b2. He's really wasting incredibly important time in a moment where it's fundamental important to have those minutes. Later on, the game would be even maybe more complicated. When he gets rook on f1 and hopefully knight on the c2, Fabi's gonna throw everything at him. He's gonna move this guy f3, f2. Gonna play rook. He's gonna throw everything. He's gonna make it complicated with the knight, checking and forking and threatening, and he's gonna have a problem with the time. He's gonna have a problem. You just can't spend 20 minutes. After move 40, king is in check, and he spent like almost 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I mean, what did he do? He went to take coffee or something, a burger. He disappeared. What's going on? Oh boy. Oh, okay. I don't understand that, guys. I don't understand that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you can't just use 20 minutes. I know you don't want to lose. Okay, that makes sense. You want to play something very, very nicely and informed. But boy, oh boy, come on. Move that king. Oh, Jesus Christ. He moved king b2 after like a billion years, like 20 minutes. Okay, he moved king b2 finally. But you can't do this every step of the way now. This is a very difficult ending. He can't just spend 15 minutes per move. Guess what? Fabi pushed the f3. This is because that's the plan. Very easy for black. f3, f2, and probably rook f8. And you're going to keep white's rook on f. And then you're going to harass them. Oopsie, I don't know where you're going because this guy's going to get a queen. So he's going to spend even more time now. So, okay, go figure. Okay, what do you play with? If you're a Pragg here, you're going to play rook f1, f2, knight c2, rook f8. So that's what I'm looking now without checking with the engine the sequences here. Whose turn is it? Pragg. You either play knight c2 or rook f1. One of these two. You can't do anything else now. You have to do one of these two. One of these two. Knight c2, rook f1. You cannot do anything else. There's nothing else. Forget about this guy. This is just ridiculous. You got a serious problem. This is the most serious problem for white here. So he got to do this and this. Or he got to do this one first. You tell me what's it going to play. Knight c2, f2. Rook f1, f2. Fabi is going to spend less than a second after Pragg plays knight c2 or rook f1. Good start. Exactly. Now Fabi is going to push f2. There you go. I've said it. He played it. That's it. Now you have to play knight e3 or rook e1. Guess what Fabi is going to play afterwards? Rook f8. And then Pragg is going to have to spend like 10 more minutes figuring out what to do after knight plays knight d2 attacking the rook on f1. And good luck with this. I don't know what to say. But he's definitely going to spend more time. He could have saved that time if instead of spending 15 minutes with king b2, he would have just played it. It's dramatic. I think Pragg plays formidably. He's an excellent, fabulous player. But he did spend. I'm a little bit, surprised. He did spend so many minutes on that move. Of course, knight e3. I don't think you have a choice. You got a serious problem with this after rook f8. That is. So you got a very serious problem with f pawn. He will have to play knight e3 or rook f1, you name it. No, not rook. Knight. And Fabi's answer for both those moves, Fabi's answer would be rook f8. And then Pragg's going to have to spend more time. And the engine very, very indifferently, very dispassionate. This hardcore, this killer of the engine would just keep saying it's a draw. That's not a draw. But those guys have drawn already, David. You can't distract the black rook. The only distraction for the black rook would be this a6, a7. But you still need 3 tempi. And even if you get to a7, he won't be reacting unless you play rook a1. To which he might be, but you need 3 tempis. This is a lot. This is a lot. So Magnus drew, David. Magnus drew. They drew the game. Didn't they? Oh, you gotta be kidding me, right? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. What they drew? Oh, Jesus. It's another tough one. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Basov. Bishop and pawn versus 3 pawns. This guy, what's going on with this guy? Supported by the king. And this guy is a passer. Again, this is another crazy position. Guys, look at this one here. I mean, just look at this one. The engine says it's a draw, right? Again, very dispassionately. The engine, oh, that's fine, man. That's a draw. Okay, that's fine. If this was an absolute draw, they wouldn't have played it at this stage. They would have said, okay, that's a draw. Let's just go home. Come back tomorrow. The reason they keep playing is because it's not that obvious for a human. I mean, draw with the most, it's a draw with the most perfect game. Then it's a draw. But they aren't agents. The pawn is supported by the king. If you do this, they're going to be capturing, and this guy's going to down the board. If you want to go with the king to stop them, the black king will be marching, taking your guy, and promoting this guy. So I don't know how, but Abasov has to play this like a machine. I think for Magnus, again, for black here, it's easier ending than is for Abasov. Abasov will have to play this incredibly accurately every single step of the way. Do you take the pawn or not? Okay, let's ask now all our friends on the platforms now. Do you take the pawn on b5 or not? I think if you take it, you lose it. He did play the correct move. I think if white would have taken b5, white just lost the game right then and there. So he didn't. He played king d2, moving the king closer to the passed pawns. b4 coming down the board, bishop e6. Cutting through. b6. Now Magnus goes towards this guy, which is on a dark square. Should Abasov push the pawn forwards? That's definitely an option. Definitely an option. If Abasov pushes f5, I reckon, what does Magnus do? Can't move, can't move. Yeah, that's exactly right. I've called f5, f5. Marching down on the pawns. Gonna play c2 and king b2. It's so difficult. And so wise game by exactly king c2. What is Magnus gonna play? You can't move the king, unfortunately. He's gonna go behind the pawns and he's not gonna make a single move with this, guys. What is he doing? Ooh, oh boy. Actually, in the moment they touch this guy, I'm gonna take the pawn. So I'm not gonna move forward. I'm not gonna play b3. I'm gonna, exactly, you gotta move the king. If white touches a4, you're gonna take the pawn on f5. And when the king, you know, goes for this guy, you're going to grab this guy and it's going to be a draw because bishop and king can't deliver checkmate. Okay, now I think it's getting closer to the draw idea, and probably they're going to be shaking hands now. Any minute. No. Not yet. I think I know what Abasov has in mind. He wants to play king c4 or c2. c2. Okay. Feels like it. Oh boy. You're going here, gonna play this. Gonna play this. You touch it, queen. Oh boy, you're gonna play this. I'm gonna play this. When you take this, I'm gonna take your guy. Yes. So I called all the moves. King's gonna play just this. Okay, now I'm gonna take here. So don't take the bishop. No, blah, blah, blah. Queen takes, take. That's a draw. That's it. It's a draw now. King takes f5, and it's the end of. There's nothing else to do. Come on, Magnus. Take the pawn, man. Don't tell me you don't take the pawn, eh? This is it. This is a draw. Don't tell me they keep playing. You can't possibly push the pawn down the board because the bishop will take on the first occasion. You can't do nothing. This, bishop takes, king takes. Come on. Okay, we're just gonna... Guys, we're gonna leave this match. There is no way Magnus can push the pawn. And bishop takes. And even if they don't take, they could just mess around and play d3. Just stay there. Okay, this is just... okay, that's a draw. Tomorrow, tie breaks with this, guys, fellas. Let's go back to Prague because that's more exciting. Exactly, guys, exactly as I told you. The white rook will go on f. Prague is going to use all the time. And probably Fabi's going to play rook f8. for this? If that's not strong, I don't know what is. Rook f8 is a very serious threat. Then knight d2 as an idea. Hell, you can play... No, you can't. Rook f8? Rook f8? Yeah, but I think, David, they need 2 points difference in order to qualify, in order to win. So 1 point is not enough, if I'm correct. We're gonna check the results because normally, if you've won, they just put you in a green on a green panel or something, and you're the qualifier. So, what do you think Fabi plays next? There's no point to doing this. Absolutely no point, because it's gonna be this. Absolutely no point. So you can't do that. Because I'd like, hello Jawad, I would like everyone to think first, and then we summon the engine. I'd like people to think. I mean, what I want to do in principle is just people need to think. If we had to just use the engine, there's not going to be, I mean, we just can't just use the engine. I mean, we do use the engine when we get into a complete dilemma, when we just don't know what to do. But yeah, we're gonna use the the engine's lines as well. So rook f8, I would say, and knight d2. Now let's see if the engine agrees. Yes, the engine agrees. Rook f8, knight e3, and then knight d2. We said those ideas previously, and now the engine confirms it. That's exactly what we had just said. So now you've got the computer's endorsement. I hope now we are more pacified, knowing that indeed these are the most accurate moves. The engine had just confirmed. Rook f8, knight e3, knight d2. And then probably rook a1. And king f6. The king would like to march down. What about king d4 move for white if rook f8? Oh, you mean knight d4. Oh, you mean knight d4. I see. There is a big problem with that one, I reckon. Let's think. Rook f1, and you've suggested knight to d4. Well, I'll tell you something. I'm going to play rook f6. And I think you're going to get in trouble after knight d2. Abimud, I think this is how you actually lose the game. If you had a plan for white to lose, this is it. Rook f8, knight d4, rook f6. I'm protecting this guy. So unless you want to give me a knight, I'll get it. The problem is your knight will be having to spend 1-2 more tempos to go back and protect f1 against knight d2. So when you do this, I think you're getting in trouble. After rook f8, knight d4, rook f6, you got a problem. You need to drop the knight back immediately, but it's too late because knight d2 will be played, and then you just lose the game at this stage. You lose the game because you don't have to defend this for f1. Your knight traveled too far, Abi mode. So knight d4 is actually losing. Rook f8, knight d4, to my understanding, loses the game. We could check with the engine if you don't trust me, or I must have missed something, or if you think I'm in error, we could always. Yes, rook f8, Makuda. Absolutely, rook f8 makes a ton of sense. Rook f8 and knight d2. Again, very easy plan for Fabi. Very difficult though for Pragg. A bit more difficult for Pragg. Probably it's going to get easier after knight e3. After knight e3, Pragg would be a little bit relieved because he at least... But what a move did Fabi just play. What a move. Oh boy. He played e5. The engine recommended rook f8, and I thought he's going to play rook f8. Well, it's a draw. He had advantage, a little bit of advantage previously, black, especially if they played rook f8. I think rook f8 was a bit more aggressive as a plan for black. This e5 pawn, I think it's a bit slower. So this move is just a bit slower. It's not losing or anything, but I think it's a bit slower. Obviously, Fabi wants to connect the two black pawns. That's what he want to do, so to speak. But that will take some time, and Prag's not going to just sit down and wait. I think Fabi played this based on a miscalculation that he was afraid of some knight d4, threatening this. I think your idea, Abimod, yes, I think it's a little bit of a miscalculation, not the blunder per se. If it was a blunder, the Valbar would go now hugely for Prag's advantage. But it's not a blunder. It's just a bit of a miscalculation here. He probably feared potential knight d4 psychologically, and also he is aware that it's nice to having the other black pawn coming down. But as we said, after moves like knight e3, Pragg can actually investigate this kind of stuff, and then, you know, after knight e3, you are allowing the king to play c2, d3, and actually coming closer. Obviously, Fabi's not just gonna sit down and wait. He's gonna play, he's gonna play his own king into the game. You know, you're gonna play your own guy. But again, that will take quite a few tempos. So e5 probably not the most aggressive move Fabi could have played. Definitely not. Rook f8. Rook f8 because you allow the black knight to attack with tempo. That is why. And if there is any issue, the rook f8 can just move back if there is a... Now, of course, Pragg sensed the moment and he pushed the pawn. Now, that's how you distract the rook, and that's how you keep the black knight staying there forever now, looking after this guy. This guy's going to come down. Now, you're going to have to use the rook. You know, just either here. Well, you're going to play this when white rook goes here. That's when you're going to play it. Not earlier. So even if a7, I suspect you could still go rook f8. In the moment white places rook f to a1, that's when you have to play rook on a8. That's when, not early. Because if you play earlier, you're committing a full rook. Just stay there, idle, doing nothing. Your rook is badly needed on the f column. The f2 pawn needs the rook so that it can free up the knight to move and make threats. Whatever those threats are, you got to move the knight. d2, very, very, very likely. Yeah. But a6 is a nice distraction now. Nice distraction. Absolutely. Very nice ending here. Yes, Step. I think I would agree now. It's starting to profiling as a draw, but then again, they'll be pushing a few more moves here. The pawn on e5 will be moved down, but first you got to play rook f8. Then you will need to play the knight. Maybe you got a chance to push e5 to e4. Maybe. Oh yeah, the knight should be going to e3, I reckon. Absolutely, because d4 has already been taken by the pawn. So the white knight should go on e3, I agree. Of course, knight e3, makes sense. Yep, I think you're right. Totally knight e3. Absolutely. Thus freeing the white rook to play something. Attack something. Knight e3, very good. With the most accurate perfect game, it ends up in a draw now. Fabi could have increased the attack with rook f8, but he didn't play rook f8. He instead pushed e5. So now The engine says it's very, very, very draw. We'll see. We'll see in the next half an hour. I think I'm going to draw a couple of curtains here. Be back in a sec, guys. Stay where you are. I'll be back in a second. It's not too dark. I think it's acceptable. Oh, wait a second. Okay, cool stuff. Let's go back. Where were we? Something happened? Did they move? No, they haven't. It's Fabi's turn. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? Fabi is very much willing to spending a couple of more minutes because he's on 21 minutes. Pragg is on 9 minutes. Well, okay. A little bit less than 10 minutes. Knight c5. Hey, actually, that's a very nice one. But you gotta give up on the pawn completely. So, step, if you play knight c5, you must say goodbye to the f2 pawn. Do you want to do that? That's actually it's a very good move in terms of. But you know what Pragg does after you play knight c5? I've got some bad news for you. They're going to play a7. I'll tell you that. If you do knight c5, Pragg's not going to do a damn thing about this pawn. He's going to take it later, maybe. What if he plays a7? Can you imagine this? And now you have moved the knight away from defending f2. If you play knight c5 step, you move the knight away from f2 defense. You thought you're going to take a pawn and threaten on b3, but after a7, you've got a problem. Probably you could play rook f8. Probably. Then they might be playing, I don't know, knight e3. And he did play it, for Christ's sake. He did play it. Step. I don't know, man. He played it. He freaking played it. Knight c5. You want to bet that Pragg's going to push a7? There are, I think, two ideas here for white. You either push a7 or you take the pawn on f2. b4? Yeah, they're going to take this guy, and then they might make some pressure on this guy, and probably you could take on f2 afterwards. Okay. It's Pragg's turn, by the way. Pragg can play a7, rook takes b4. One of these three. I think these are the candidate moves. Ladies and gents, I think we've got three main ideas. a7, b4, rook takes. Which one is the correct one? Which one is the correct move here, guys? You are more than welcome to tell me what you think. What would you play? Over the board or online if you had this? I'm very much tempted for a7. Very much tempted. a7, you can't mess with that move. a7, you cannot ignore. This is a very dangerous one. a7 forces the rook. If you're coming like this, oh my God, Pragg is incredible. Knight b4. You've got to be. What on earth is this? Ah, if you touch this guy, I'm going to move here. And you can't stop my guy from promoting. This is just crazy. This is wow. How can Pragg come up with this ideas? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Unbelievable. Freaking believable. Let me go back and ask the engine because I want to know. The engine says a7. The best strong reply here. And I did mention a7 would be my choice as well. a7. Knight b4, not a bad one, not a baddish one. It's just a little bit better a7 in my view, and I wasn't wrong. But knight b4, no. I didn't see that. But what I saw was a7, which I think is very strong Confirmed, actually. Knight b4, not bad. Again, very, very even, if I express that. You understand what I mean. So knight b4. Again, if rook captures, we're pushing, and good luck stopping that pawn. And even if take would check, I'm going to move on a2. You can't stop the pawn. You're going to have a serious problem. Actually, you lose. Okay, if rook takes, Fabi loses, so he can't take it. What a move. Jesus. What a move. Can you believe that? Knight b4. Actually, now you can't take here. You cannot take the pawn on a6, and this guy is still under attack. So this is a psychological effect move. This is bearing some psychological effect because you can't take on a6, and your pawn on f2 is compromised. If you now plan on playing back knight or something, this guy's going to go a7. Oh. Can you push? Okay. And now the almighty black rook that could have been on f, they went on a6 to grab this pawn, which is really a major cause for concern. Now white's going to take it. Rook takes b4. Let me look at that. Rook takes b4, a7, knight a4. So you say rook takes b4. Oh my god. Rook takes b4. This is very bad for black. As I personally said, I think it's very bad. a7, knight a4 check. For knight b6. But then I'm going to play this, attacking two pieces at once. You're going to drop material now. Just immediately you're going to drop material. No, not material. Forget about this. I'm just taking a queen. Well, you could play knight b6, but then I'm going to take this guy. It's game over. And then I'm going rook a1. This is game over. This loses very quickly. Rook b4. Oopsie. Rook b4 loses very quickly. So, painfully for Fabi. Well, there was a draw anyway. Apparently. So he played rook. Rook takes f2. Knight takes a6. Now, whatever you want to do. Okay. They're going to be playing for a while, though. They're going to be playing for a while. Of course he should. It's Prag's turn, though. Prag can do many things here. Prag can do very many things here. If he wants, he can take the knight. If he wants to, I don't think you want to complicate. If Prag doesn't want to complicate it, given the fact he's on 5 minutes. So I think, wisely speaking, when you are on 5 minutes, you don't want to make it very complicated ending because you don't have the luxury of 19 minutes. Fabi has a lot of time compared with Prag. You can't play against Caruana maintaining the complexity and stuff. I think you probably need to take rook takes, try to play king on c3 something, look for this guy. He didn't. He didn't trade. He went knight c6. Okay. If he thinks he's got enough time to play, okay. Okay. But Fabi has 19 minutes. Well, a bit less than 19 minutes, but still a lot of time. So you either push or defend the pawn. Play this kind of things, or you push the pawn. What else do you play? Ah, I think Prague proposed the draw. He just got mentally exhausted. He said it's just not worth it. I don't know who proposed the draw, by the way, guys. I don't know who's the guy that proposed the draw. Probably was Prague, because it's on 5 minutes. You want to draw here. No, not Prague. It was Fabi's turn. It was on his time. He proposed the draw here. He proposed the draw. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Nice one. You know something, guys? But just very, very briefly, let me just go back here. Not here. 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 Rook F. Rook F. Let's put the lines here. Rook F. What if Fabi played Rook F8 when we called it? Rook F8. Knight E3. Knight D2. That's what I thought was the strongest continuation for black. Rook A1. And now this is a crazy idea. Knight take. Probably Fabi might have seen some crazy knight takes b3, king takes b3, rook f3. This is nuts, but beautiful. He could have won. He could have seen the idea. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen knight b3, king takes rook f3. I haven't seen this idea. But if Fabi played rook f8, maybe he would have come up with this thought after all. Maybe he would have. Look at this. Knight b3. King takes a rook f3. You tell me what's wrong. I mean, this is nice. Really nice. Really, really, really nice. This is looking so good. So good for black here. This guy's pinned. What do you play? You play king b4. Makes a lot of sense. And you take. Oh, whoa. Tough. Very tough. Very tough. Rook f1. Probably you got to move this rook away and make space for the other. Rook e2. a6. Rook a2. But this guy's going to move probably closer. Now you're going to move this guy. If you manage to get the pawn on, do you? Oh boy, it's going down. It's going down at this stage. It's going down at this stage because if the black pawn makes it to e3, you're gonna stay there. Rook's gonna capture this guy, and then you're gonna come down with the king. Wow. Wow. That is why the king must make a turn. They gotta go back on c4 to stop this guy. This is nuts. If Fabi would have played this ideas, maybe he could have won potentially. He didn't play that one. That one was the strongest sequence, which he didn't play. He didn't. He pushed e5. This is the moment, ladies and gents. This is the moment. Rook f8. And followed by knight d2. Very, very easy idea to apply. With the crazy stuff after rook a1, knight b3, and then rook f3 too. This is just crazy. But it's very playable. Crazy in terms of unexpected, but actually, its application pays off. Wow. He didn't see that. He didn't see that. He got lost in some other stuff. He didn't see it. Anyway, absolutely super exciting. Guys, let's go back just briefly, and I'm going to see you again tomorrow, I hope. Let's see again what's going on here. Results. We're going to see tie breaks tomorrow. We're going to have tie breaks tomorrow. Winner. What? Magnus going to play tomorrow. Final. Magnus qualified. These guys will have tie break tomorrow. Fabiano and Prague will have a tie break tomorrow. 1 point is enough at that stage. For the semifinals, 1 point is enough. Here's the winner of the semifinal. Magnus will be in the final tomorrow. You can see it on the screen. Fabi and Prague still to dispute. Who's qualifying for the final? Well, there are 3 guys that might be playing. I mean, I don't know if Fabi going to win versus Prague or vice versa. So Fabi needs to play Prague. Do they play today? No, I think tie breaks is tomorrow. Let me just check on the info page. Where on earth? No, wait. No, I gotta go to the schedule. Tie breaks is tomorrow, right? It's gotta be tomorrow. Games. Not games. Wait a second. Come on, why is this frozen? Okay. The screen has frozen. What's going on? Results, no. Games. I want to see the tie breaks. When do they happen? Probably tomorrow, right? I think it's tomorrow, the tie breaks, not today. We're not going to be seeing any more chess today for the Fide World Cup. They're going to be playing tie breaks tomorrow? Schedule, yes. August 21st. Guys, tomorrow is just the tie break, okay? So tomorrow, 21st of August, round 7 tie break. That is, tomorrow we're going to see only Fabi. No. Yeah, only Fabi and Prague. And on the August the 22nd, we're going to see the final and the third and fourth place, so to speak. So yes, tomorrow going to be Fabi and Prague. And 22nd of August, we're going to be seeing the final. Yes, and third place, fourth place, something like that. But apparently, Magnus did an interview, and he said actually, don't matter if he wins, he's not going to be playing in the candidates tournament. For some personal reasons, either he doesn't like the format or something, he doesn't want to play in the candidates, which is a little bit painful. I was really hoping for him to just go back and just play and win it all back. But if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play. You can't force the man. Okay. Well, very nice one, guys. I really appreciate your presence. We're gonna be doing some arenas, but usually that goes very well in the evening. But anyways, in the meantime, if you want to join the club on chess.com, wherever I may roam, feel free to join. Feel free to send some friend requests. And so let me just show you the page. Oh, not this one. I'm talking about clubs. So if you want to join this club, we can play arenas together in some evenings. Just send me a friend request, send me a membership request or something, and I will be accepting it. Tomorrow, I could see you guys for Prague and Fabi. And 2 days from now, we're going to see Magnus facing the finalists, and that will be a nice one. So a lot of very many ideas. And again, thank you for your presence, fellas, and see you tomorrow.